Hello again. This is a quick movie about O-ring installation on a cylinder head. We're going to demonstrate that even though an O-ring at times may appear to be too large or too small, that typically they are the correct one, and this is such a tight fit that it's necessary sometimes to stretch them a little bit or to compress them a little bit. The stretching is obvious. You'll pull on it and then install it. What I want to point out is that to install the cylinder head O-rings, it's best to lubricate them with a silicone grease. What this does is it makes them sticky enough that they stay in their groove, and then when you install the cylinder head, you don't have to worry about them popping out of place during your procedure. Demonstrate here that I've placed the silicone grease on the O-ring and that it will go into the groove, and even though it appears to be too large, I can push it and it will actually go in there and seat in place. What you're basically doing is you're spreading it out all the way around. There we go, and we have it in place. So initially, when we place this O-ring into the groove, it appears to be too large, and in reality we can just coax it into place, just pressing around the edge, and there it is, going right in there. And there. Okay. Run the finger around there a little bit, and we have it. Now if the O-ring's too small, like I said previously, you just take it and you grease it and you pull on it like this. Okay. You don't want to break it in half, but that stretches it, and then when you put it in the groove, then you need to put the cylinder head on immediately. But this is not going to cause you any problems. This is just minor differences in manufacturing. Sometimes these O-rings, they shrink a little bit over time, and sometimes there's minor variances in the diameters of these grooves as they make minor changes to the squish band in the cylinder head, etc. On the earlier model cylinder heads, they have 8mm diameter bolts, and they use an O-ring on the cylinder head bolts to seal the bolt and washer to the top of the head. Also silicone grease on those, and that way that O-ring can slide when you're torquing the cylinder head bolts. And on the GasGas trial models, if you have 8mm cylinder head bolts, you will torque to 18 US foot-pounds. Then starting at about 1998, the cylinder head bolts were reduced in diameter to 6mm. If you have these 6mm bolts, which will use a copper washer as a sealant, you will torque to 9 US foot-pounds. If you need to convert for kilograms, you can do this with any of the conversions on the internet. You will want to tighten your cylinder head bolts in a cross pattern. You'll tighten them a little bit and then increase your tightening till you reach your torque spec. So for instance, you'll tighten lightly this one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Then go around again, and maybe a third time when you are reaching your torque spec. You should also lubricate the threads of the bolts. This way you have an accurate reading with your torque wrench. Your rubber O-ring, if it's used on the bolt, and your lubricated threads will give your torque wrench a smooth tightening sequence, and it will come up to torque and it will click, or you will read your dial. If you insert the bolts dry, it's possible you can get a false reading because the bolt may begin to actually seize in position before it actually reaches its actual torque specification. Thank you for watching.